Take it away, Brian.
Welcome, everybody, to Fear, a skydiving podcast.
It's the show.
It's the show. The latest episode of the show. My name is Brian McCauley, host here. We got Joe Rouse. How you doing this week, Joe?
Good. Not
That's
a criminal.
Just
Good.
not
Still
a
on the
criminal.
right side of the
All right.
grass. I got nothing to complain about.
Right on. And this week we have John Bindle with us. He is the creator of the app Funjumpr, Jumpr. It's a really cool skydiving app. How you doing, John?
I'm doing well. How are you doing, Brian?
Doing all right. So looking forward to getting, doing all right, man.
That's it.
Looking forward to, dude, all you said was good. All right. Like, come on.
I just, everybody out there is I like to bust your chops. So.
So we're looking forward to talking to John about the app and getting to know you a little bit better and hearing about your story. But before we do that, Joe, what have you been up to?
I mean, not a whole lot. Got a couple skydives in. Nothing super, exciting to report, unfortunately.
Okay. All right.
That's all I got for you, man. Got some wingsuiting in. Working.
Where'd you do that at? Was that at SPA?
Yeah. I do have some upcoming, maybe by the time this comes out, I don't know. Me and another one of our co-jumpers are going to attempt a wingsuit record in Ohio.
During the halo jumps?
Mm-hmm.
Nice. Oh, what day are you doing it?
I don't know yet. We're going to look at the weather.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully it's Saturday. I'll be there Saturday.
Whatever has the highest up or downwind, whatever's going to be the highest up or downwind, from jump run.
Yeah.
What's the wingsuit record you're targeting?
Duration and distance. And so I talked with my buddy. I figured if we do a two-way, we got a better chance of at least one of us breaking the record. And then if we're both like real close, then we set the two-way record at the same time. So we're both pretty experienced. We both got the same suit, ATC. So we're going to give it a shot.
All right. I thought they made you pick your time slot. I'm pretty sure I picked a time slot.
Well, that's because it's you. I
follow the rules.
You got to follow the rules, dude.
You're special. Is that what you're saying?
No.
No.
I only think it's because of our, special circumstances that we're requesting. Like, hey, can you not book us on this certain day or certain time? Let's wait until it's earlier in that week, and then we'll be like, hey.
They are accommodating you.
Yes, which is awesome.
Gotcha. So speaking of dogs, we were talking about dogs earlier before we started recording. Mine wanted to come in here, and now it's barking. Stop it. Come here. All right. So I flew a Power 2-piece tracking suit for the first time a couple days ago. That was pretty fun. Started out with like just the pants and a jersey, just to kind of see how that goes, because the guy I was borrowing it from said most of the, function comes from just the pants. Not the jacket doesn't really do a whole lot compared to what the pants do.
For power is, that's why it's called a power. Power
Gotcha.
2-piece. Power.
And then flew it with the jacket. That's different. It's a different animal, that's for sure.
They fly independently of one another. You have to make them fly together.
I didn't have like super awesome exits, but I was able to like get stable in the suit and fly it. So I'll call that a win. You let me use your fly sight, so my glide ratio was garbage.
I wouldn't expect your I wouldn't expect you to have a glide ratio of 1 to 3. Your second full 2-piece jump,
Yeah.
So,
but it was a lot of fun. You could definitely tell you are moving horizontally, like compared to just tracking without a tracking suit or wings. Like, it doesn't really look like you're moving too much, but with that suit on, you could tell. Like, you could definitely look and see across the ground that you are moving. So that was pretty cool. That was the first time I've seen that.
Yeah. So, the app, we got John here, who is the developer, creator of Funjumpr. And how's it spelled? Jumpr?
Funjumpr.
Funjumpr. Cool. Yeah. So I just downloaded it Saturday afternoon or Sunday morning. Obviously, the DZ things are a little bit hectic. So I signed in. That's as far as I got. But why don't you tell us a little bit about, how do you skydive? What made you develop this app, and sort of what your experience is? And
Sure. Yeah, so I've been jumping for about 6 years now. I started in 2019, and then kind of, I guess, when COVID came, things slowed down quite a bit for me.
Yeah.
So, I've been back at it and very serious for about, I guess, 4.5 years. I'm a free flyer, and I do a lot of angles as well.
Yeah.
And I'm a load organizer over at Skydive Spaceland San Marcos. I decided I wanted to build an app because I saw, just a space for, for improvements in the technology related to skydiving. And I noticed a lot of people had their own set of tools that they would use at one drop zone and then a different set when they would go elsewhere. And there were a lot of interesting technologies on the market and things that I think have done a lot to propel the sport forward technologically, but the systems wouldn't really talk to each other. And so I thought, here's a really big opportunity to start with weather and put all the weather forecasting tools there and winds aloft and start talking with all the manifest systems and put in place a lot of other features that can help fun jumpers to be more organized, to have kind of a safe progression path, and to really understand the landscape and get people more engaged with the community at their local drop zone and the larger skydiving community in the world. And so I think it started with a humble vision initially of just helping out with the weather, but as pieces were added, it kept growing, and now we have a lot all in one.
Yeah. So when did you start skydiving? How many skydives you got? What's your home DZ?
Yeah, so my home DZ is Skydive Spaceland San Marcos. I've been I got started in 2019 when I did my first tandem, and then I got into fun jumping maybe about a month after that. I jumped in with 2 feet. No, jumped in with 2 feet. I went off to the tunnel. I said, I want to start free flying right away. I do think it is wise for people to take the path of developing belly proficiencies, because you're always going to be on your belly for pitching if everything goes right. Hopefully you're on your belly when you're pitching. So, to be able to have significant belly proficiency will help you with everything. For me, myself, I jumped in with 2 feet to free flying. And so my belly skills have caught up through a lot of tunnel time. So I kind of, I've done a good chunk of tunnel coaching with some of the European coaches. And that's really done a lot to help my belly skills, despite the fact that I really probably don't have more than 10 belly jumps after the A license.
Yeah, I think my initial path when I first started was a little bit of everything. Free flying, angle flying, wingsuiting. Then I got my rating, and I was just kind of all over the place.
Yeah.
And it's easy to do, it's hard to pick one discipline because they're all fun.
They are. They sure are. I dipped my toe in the wingsuiting water somewhat recently. It's been a couple months now, a few months now, but I now have 3 wingsuit jumps. And let me tell you, so I don't think I answered this question earlier. I have 1,600 jumps.
Nice.
I've been jumping for a while. I have a good amount of tunnel time as well. And when I put on the wingsuit, I thought, well, all of the angle jumps that I've done,
it's gonna be easy,
will really help out. And piece of cake, I'll get right at it. And it did not go that way at all.
Yeah,
I think on the one hand, navigation and just like awareness of where you are in the sky. Yes, doing angles does help with that and some basic body position things. But when I got out of the plane, I was ready to mentally to fly a position that I couldn't hang in at all. I was too engaged, and I was like, I was like, let's go for it. And on that first jump and the second jump, I was going head down, multiple times. I just like, there was a lot of this going on. It was a wild trip for sure.
Yeah.
I do intend to get back to wingsuiting, but so far I just have the 3 jumps, and I need to put together my wingsuit rig next.
Yeah. What were you flying?
I just had a Swift 3.
Yeah, I started on a Swift 1.
Oh, nice.
Well, Tony suit first, and then the first suit I bought was a Swift 1.
Yeah.
And then I jumped from that to a Kalugo, and scared the shit out of myself. Yeah.
For those listening, I happen to think, I mean, tell me your thoughts. I'd love to hear, but I happen to think that, for people wanting to get into wingsuiting, of course you want basic proficiencies developed. I think maybe 200 sounds even a little bit, on the aggressive side to getting there.
A little light.
But I also think that there is a level of experience that you can get to doing something else that when you get into a wingsuit, that can leave you with higher expectations for your capabilities. And you really do need to humble yourself, or the suit will, and just start easy, fly like a nice simple belly position, let the suit do the work, and then over time graduate into capabilities you want to do.
Yeah, I think definitely on some of the wingsuit websites, recommended number for this suit is 200. I'm like, dude, no way. No way. Somebody could have did 200 solos and be like, oh, I got 200 jumps. That's my suit. And they did. No, it's not. It's not your suit. Like, I'm not the best wingsuit pilot in the world, but like I went through the phase where they were developing and redesigning wingsuits, and the wingsuits today are awesome compared to 2013, 2014.
Yeah.
They're great.
Have you been jumping that long?
I took a hiatus for about 6 years.
Okay.
Did the whole family life thing, and then got back into jumping again 2 years ago,
Nice.
something like that. And then decided I wanted to base jump again. Started doing that again.
That's why he's not a criminal.
That's why I'm not a criminal. Base jumping's not a crime.
It shouldn't be.
It shouldn't be.
Trespassing is.
That's true. That's true.
The other side of it.
Yeah. Right.
If you didn't know, Joe found himself in a little hot water from jumping off a building recently.
I heard.
Yeah.
So what's the story? I want to hear. Well, are you able to talk about it?
Yeah, I mean, my case specifically is closed. I got a violation, a simple non-traffic violation. It's like the same thing as a disorderly conduct or drunk in public, etc. So I got off easy, but I had no criminal background or no prior history of being caught base jumping illegally. So I got off pretty good. I didn't get a fine. I didn't get any court costs. Just simple non-traffic. And if I don't do anything about it, 5 years, it automatically falls off your record, or I can file to have it expunged. But yeah.
Nice.
Nice. Relatively unscathed.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't recommend anybody just go out and just do it.
No way.
You need to be somewhat canopy proficient and be able to put your canopy where you want to. Especially somewhere like downtown.
Are you able to talk about the specifics of what went down that night? And I mean, that would be an interesting story.
Yeah, I mean, basically, we gained access and walked through the hallway, got in the elevator, and went up. And there was a report that there had been a lock tampered with or something. But we got off the elevator and the door was held open with a bleach bottle, and there was a hose running through it. So, no way. It was unlocked, so we just out the door, up the ladder, and we were in and out in 15 minutes, something like that.
Nice. That's pretty quick.
Yeah.
I guess you want it to be quick, though.
Yeah, I mean, we mitigated any risk of endangering anybody else. We did it before the sun come up. There was nobody on the street. Somebody just happened to see me land in an alleyway from another building And that's basically the rest is history, right? They blasted us on the news and eventually found out who I was. Never got a phone call, no questioning. Court summons in the mail for a preliminary hearing. So I got an attorney, showed up, and I said one word. The judge asked me if I was going to see her again, and I went, nope. She goes, well, good. I know your name now. So, yeah.
You literally just got a summons in the mail. Like the police didn't talk to you or anything.
Yep.
That's,
I got
wow.
one phone call from the city of Pittsburgh a few weeks prior to that, but I was on a meeting for work because I work from home, and I was on a Teams meeting, so I let it go to. I mean, nobody left a voicemail, but other than that, that was it. Like, that's it. So, yeah, they tried charging me with criminal trespass, felony 3. So, yeah,
That's a lot worse than a, what do you say? A non-traffic violation?
yeah. I mean, I was fully prepared to
Felony.
walk out of court with a misdemeanor. Sure, like give me a grade 3, give me the lowest misdemeanor charge. I'll be happy with that. I mean, obviously I didn't say that, but like I was okay, cool. But felony, no way, dude. Like I didn't break anything. I didn't steal anything. I didn't get hurt. I didn't hurt anybody else. Like, was I trespassing? Yeah. Did I know I was trespassing? Of course. I'm not gonna like say I'm not guilty. Prove it. But they're also not gonna waste that kind of time and resources. You know, they got a lot of worse stuff going on in Pittsburgh right now. So
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So, but that's just one of the risks you need to accept if you're going to do an illegal base jump is you could get caught. So, which is a pretty good risk if you have any sort of special clearances. You get a misdemeanor, a felony thrown at you, then you could be in a world of hurt with work. So, luckily, luckily I don't have that situation. So I was like, go for it. Nobody else has jumped it as far as I know. So
you opened it?
As far as I know.
Whoever else? Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
I mean, that other guy. Yeah. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I thought it was an object that had already been jumped.
No, not that I know of. I mean, maybe some old school guys. I know there's old school guys that jumped off the U.S. Steel building, which is like not impossible, but close to impossible to get into these days. Like one of our jumpers, who's a newer jumper, she was in the roof once and she posted there was a special event, but like she had special clearances, like she had to go through different elevators with different guards to get the whole way to the roof. So it's pretty difficult. It would be a good one though, because it's almost 1,000. It's like 900 feet. Yeah,
it would be a good one. What's the PPG vote?
750.
That's still pretty good though.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was good. Yeah.
All right. So let's
let's talk about the app,
about
man.
Your base jumping and talk about this app.
Hey, that's cool.
Let's do it. It's all right. John asked.
Cool story, bro.
Yeah.
I guess you had to be there.
I apologize. I had to run out there for a minute. Dog wouldn't shut up. So I learned about this app through my friend Dan Arnett showed it to me, and he was like, "Hey, did you know your podcast is on this app?" I was like, "No, I didn't, but that's awesome." And then he also said, "Make sure that you email the guy and tell him to put Skydive Pennsylvania on the app." So that's
nice.
How this whole thing kind of came about, and then John and I started emailing and inviting him onto the show. But there's like everything here, like literally everything. Not even just like on the page when you open it and you're like on your local DZ. It's got the weather, and you can. One thing that I think is really cool about it is you can indicate that like you're going to be there at the drop zone. You know what I mean? So like other people can know who's gonna be there just by looking at the app.
That's
and then,
something
of course,
I did
the wind's
notice.
aloft.
That's something I did notice. That's something I noticed when I downloaded it. Was like, hey, Brian McCauley's at this drop zone when I logged into Skydive PA. Like, that's cool.
The wind's aloft. So I wanted to ask you about the winds aloft. Where do you get that data from?
We pull our weather data from, including winds aloft, from Open Meteor, and they have a best selection model for any part of the world, and so we pull what they deem to be the best model. What I'm intending to do going forward at some point is going to be to add multiple different models, so you'll be able to compare different forecasts right inside the app. Today we just have the one. As you know, with weather, you can only be as accurate as the weatherman, right? So
Right. Yeah.
we do our best to give you good information.
Only have to be right 50% of the time.
Well, the reason that I ask is because when I was at the drop zone on Sunday, I was looking at the winds aloft in the app, and then before Funjumpr, I would use Mark Schultz to check the winds aloft, and they were a little bit different. You know what I mean? And I was curious as to why they would be different. So maybe Mark Schultz uses a different model or something. You know what I mean?
So yeah, about that, Mark Schultz really does a great job of getting weather data and putting it together for winds aloft, right? And we pull from the exact same source as Mark Schultz, but we pull a few additional data points. And so
Okay.
ours is actually slightly more accurate to the forecasted winds, but coming from the same source of winds. We just pull more data and
I'm
make
sure
our
you've
Alright.
heard
averaging
of,
in smaller increments.
I'm sure you've heard of like windy.com.
Yeah.
That's primarily what I use for
Okay.
like base jumping when I'm, you're able to select your altitude and change some things on there. But
Nice.
I think it's the same exact thing, right? You can choose what model you want to look at because there's
Yeah.
various ones that you can pull data from.
And another thing that I think is super awesome, because I live about an hour and 10 minutes away from the drop zone. You have sky cameras. So like I can see what what it looks like at the drop zone. So, if it's cloudy or hazy or it's raining or, like, because again, you never know what's actually happening there until you're there, right? But I can see it now.
Yeah.
That's the coolest thing ever.
Yeah. It can really be nice to get a sense for what's going on in the sky. Let
So where
let
does
me
that
Yeah, I
come
was
from?
gonna
share.
say,
There's like traffic cameras?
Yeah, so
Like,
we pull public access cameras that are in the area, and they're right now it's a bit of a manual process to go and pull out the ones that don't make sense and stuff. Sometimes,
ones that's pointed at a playground.
yeah. So
well,
let me bring this up, and I
Yeah,
can show you kind of.
run us through this
yeah,
thing,
okay.
man, because I have no idea about it except the login screen.
Oh,
Like some
there's
of
so
them do
much.
show the sky though, like at least parts of the
Yeah.
sky.
There's so much to show here. So, and I'm going to be demoing in this screen here a version of the app that's pre-release, and so if there wind up being some issues, then that's why. But
Okay.
you'll
Well,
see
John,
some.
before you go on, for those listening to the podcast, just the audio version, you really should go onto Spotify and watch the video because John's got a whole screen sharing thing here and he's showing stuff on the app. So if you're only listening to it, you might miss some things, just so you know. All right, go
Yeah,
ahead.
thank
Sorry
you.
about that.
Oh, no worries. So in this version of the app, there's so many more things that you'll see that I'm currently working on, and so just be aware that a lot of this is upcoming and will be there shortly. But what I'm showing on screen right now is the today screen, and so you can kind of see at a glance what the weather's looking like right now. If there's any precipitation, you would see that up here. It can show you the winds, so it's like 12 miles an hour regular winds and 14 miles an hour gusts is what is representing right now. 92 degrees Fahrenheit, and this is at 3 p.m. And we have this time bar here, and you can actually tap on it and drag, and you can see throughout various hours in the past or the future of today. So that's a nice little
That's sick.
interactive element to see how things are going. Um,
It's like a real weather app, just
Yeah,
condensed.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That just shows us things that skydivers are interested in for what affects our ability to jump. And so on the today screen, any one of these things you can tap on it and go get more detail about that. So this is kind of an overview, and I'll jump into the details later. But with the overview, we have who's going. So you can see here, there's 4 people. It's a Tuesday. So, there's 4 people that mark they're going down at the drop zone. You can tap on I'm going, and it puts you right there in the list. Um, so you can tell your friends that you'll be there, and they can sign up for push notifications to see that, one of the people I'm following is going to be out there at the drop zone, or somebody at my drop zone is going to be there. depending on their settings, they'll be notified of that.
Nice.
We have the ability to show any active loads that are on the load clock here. And right now they don't have any.
So your loads are based off of Burble?
So we're
right?
able to integrate with Burble with, in San Marcos's case, it's the San Marcos, the Spaceland load clock. Um, and then we're able to open, to bring up Dizio. And there's a few other custom load clocks that we can pull in. But if there's anybody listening that's at a drop zone that uses any other manifest software, if there's a way to integrate with it, if I'm able to do so, I would be more than happy to integrate with it. I want this to be the app that can unify all of us and our ability to have access to these tools.
Yeah, man, having all this information in one spot's, pretty nice.
Yeah. And being able to travel. I'm somebody, I travel to other drop zones sometimes, and getting to keep your tools regardless of where you are can really be a big help. So with winds, we were able to pull winds aloft, temperatures, winds, the direction the wind's heading, and then cloud coverage at all altitudes. And so that can be really helpful
Let me ask you this. Can you change things to metric?
Yes, you can. So you can go.
Awesome.
Yeah, we have settings for if you want,
metric.
If you want Celsius, if you want to measure your winds in knots, we support that. If you want to measure, like, you can pick and choose what measurements you want to use. And we have some strange ones, like I think Canada kind of does some things imperial and some things metric, and so I decided to just allow people to choose what they want for different distances. We actually have like a short distance, which in this case would be feet, and a long distance, which would be miles or kilometers. So we have the ability to choose all of these things, and it can really be customized to what the user wants to see.
Nice.
So what you're saying is, you can go like into settings or something, and if you want to measure something short, it will measure. You can tell it measure short things in feet, but measure long things in kilometers instead of miles. Like, that's what you're saying. You can differentiate. You can
That's right.
customize it
So
that way.
typically you
Cool.
would probably use mostly standard things, but to accommodate for some countries, like I think Canada being a good example, they have some things that are in one system and other things that are in another. They don't cleanly align to to a consistent set of measurements. So we allow for that as well. And then some people prefer, or they're used to, getting their winds in knots and others miles per hour. And so, this will allow for either one. And we've color coded everything too. So for temperatures, blue is like very cold, green is like mostly comfortable, and then yellow, orange, and red get into the warmer temperatures.
No, thank you. Like right now over here we got a heat advisory till Wednesday. 95 degrees in the shade.
Well, that's not the worst to jump out of.
But it's also humid.
Oh yeah, it's 10 degrees. So and then we can color code the winds and kind of give you just an understanding of what you're up against. I lead a lot of angle jumps, and so this can be really helpful to understand if you're going to have winds pushing you a certain direction in free fall, or just for spotting and getting your spotting awareness. But sometimes there's a shear layer, so you have some winds that are going that way, and then down low they're going the opposite or some other direction.
Pretty common, actually, more than people would think.
Yeah. And so having this awareness, is something you can quickly get to, can really help just make sure you're prepared for what you're up against. And then cloud coverage at different levels too. I think that could be helpful. This is something I wish it were more accurate. I do feel like sometimes, what you observe is different than what the forecast said.
Most of the time it is, I think, with any weather app for clouds, because they can develop it anytime, anywhere.
Sure.
Without any, it's just how it is.
Yeah. So, anybody listening, just be aware that, like, this is forecasted clouds, what you're going to see, trust your eyes. That's first and foremost. But, you mentioned Mark Schultz, and you can jump over here by pressing this winds aloft thing in the bottom right. And we actually will bring up Mark Schultz right here in the app. So, if this is what you're used to seeing, or if somebody says, hey, let's check Mark Schultz. Like I said, we're pulling from the same data source, so it really shouldn't be a substantial difference whatsoever. In fact, the error would go in our favor on this. But if somebody's asking,
there's Mark
hey,
Schultz.
show us what that says, you can bring it up right here. We have a variety of other tools that you can get to over here. So you mentioned Wendy. We can bring up Wendy right here in the app, and you can get a view of the clouds, or you can jump over here and get any of the other tools that you're used to if you want to see, general
That's
weather
killer.
or wind.
Yeah.
You can bring up all that here.
Yeah, so it's not like you're walking into an unknown. You got something there that's familiar.
That's right. Yeah. And then also a lot of people, they like to check their cloud base or to understand cloud coverage by going to US AirNet. That's a pretty common one. So we have that tool right here for most drop zones, or at least many in the US. We can bring this
Gives
up.
you the ceiling height.
And yeah, you can go. Let me see if I can. I'm in like a simulator right now, so I'm not sure if I can easily, but on your phone you can. Oh, here we go. You can kind of zoom in here, and then
Pinch to zoom.
Yeah, you can see what you're looking at for clouds. A lot of people do like that tool. I've also added pilots. They love using METAR, so you can pull up METARs and TAFs right here in the app. It'll explain it for you here. But if you prefer, a lot of people do like just undecoded, the METAR data here. And I need to move it out of the way, but yeah, you can get METARs and TAFs right here for many airports. For both US AirNet and METAR, you could just swap around nearby airports. So if there's multiple places that you check, we try to make it really easy and convenient for you to get access to all of those here.
And like stuff you find on ForeFlight.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Ryan's a former pilot.
Oh, there you go. Cool.
He used to have a pilot's license. To
those I don't fly anymore.
To those pesky FAA people. Change the rules.
FAA doesn't like me.
Yeah, but
so we have we also have the ability to show flight radar here, and so we have flight radar 24, and then you can bring that up and see, okay, let's see. I guess San Marcos's plane is not going right now, but you can see what's in the area, kind of get a sense for that. Yeah, so those are our additional weather tool. Oh, hang on.
Wow.
Not supposed to see that one just yet. We'll come back to that. So we have those, and then we have the sky cameras. And so here's what I'm able to see right now. I gotta get a couple of these out of there, but you can kind of get a sense for cloud coverage or jumpability from what's up here, and it'll tell you when I have a time zone error in my build. So that for me it's 3:24. That was 5 minutes ago. So we want to make it where you can get a sense for what's going on in the sky here. Yeah, so in general, that's kind of what we're looking at. We also show you a prediction. Right now it's pretty loose, but over time this will become much more accurate, a prediction of how many jumps you might be able to expect to get that day. There's really a couple of factors that will go into that. We're making a prediction of how many loads we think the drop zone will send that day. And then we're going to be factoring in, we're not doing this aspect yet, but we're going to be factoring in your personal preference for kind of the cadence that you like to jump at. If you're a once every 40-minute kind of jumper, or maybe sometimes you're somebody that when you land, you can scramble and get on a 20-minute call, or maybe somebody that's jumping every hour and a half.
Yeah.
So we want to make a personalized prediction, and over time that's going to go up here for how many jumps we think you might be able to get, or a range, just to give you a sense for the day.
Do you have to input those preferences, or what? Like, does it learn somehow?
I'm sure you guys built an algorithm of some sort, right, to start gathering that data and building it.
There's probably going to be a mix of that. So right now we're not able to do anything, like the user doesn't input anything for that yet, but there are some things that we're doing to begin to predict patterns of what we can notice. And there's a big vision for where that's headed that I'll get into a bit later. But right now, it's kind of a simple number that just kind of describes the outlook of the drop zone for that day without any personalization just yet.
just as accurate as a weatherman. So I'm okay with that.
There you go. 7 to 14 is like a lot, and
Yeah.
14 would be like,
Yeah.
how aggressive are you going,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, just to bring up Spaceland's load clock, they've sent 4 loads so far today. They may send some more, I'm not sure, but 7 to 14 obviously doesn't seem like it's in the cards for this particular day. So take it with a big grain of salt, but it can give you a sense for if things are looking more or less jump.
Yeah.
So,
So
I mean, I have to ask though. So,
yeah,
some drop zones are more Funjumpr focused, some tandem factories. So, a bunch of tandems and 4 Funjumpers. Hey, how do you take that into account?
that's a really good question. So right now it's a fairly naive algorithm that's being used for calculating this. That's primarily based on the weather. Over time, it will grow to be more accurate as we start to make correlations with things and understand users' preferences and start to account for that. We had to build the settings and start to do more. Things are progressing quickly, but there's so many fronts to be developed. So a lot of this is, here's the vision and here's where we're headed. Stay tuned and it'll get developed.
Yeah. Google Maps wasn't always what it is today.
For sure.
I remember you printing out
MapQuest, yeah.
MapQuest directions, man.
Back in the day, yeah.
Using a atlas trying to navigate Boston was a nightmare.
Yeah. So we can jump into any of these. We can go into like weather, and you can see like for the whole day, broken down by hour, just kind of the same things that we were looking at when we were dragging the slider. But we can look at it this way as well.
So you said, so for manifesting, like you can pull up their specific load clocking, right?
Yeah.
So it's going to sync with that drop zone's Burble software.
Yeah, we just embed it right there. So if there's, well, what drop zone do you want me to go to?
I'm just saying in particular, like, are you able to get in the app and look at your load and who else is on it if they're using the Funjumpr app?
That's right. Well, you can see, everything you can see on the Burble board. So
yeah.
What drop zone do you jump at?
Skydive PA, Cleveland Skydiving Center.
So let's bring up Skydive Pennsylvania.
Is closed today though. They're not jumping.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's
so we can hop over here. And it has the Burble board just like right there,
Air Ohio.
We can see. Let's go to Air Ohio. Nice. Let's see if they have anything. So here's the board right there. So we try to make it just easy to use the tools that your drop zone uses. And if you switch to another drop zone, they're using a different set of tools. We want you to be able to access those tools right here.
That's cool, man. That's a good idea.
Well, thank you.
I dig it.
Andrew.
That's awesome.
I was wondering if we knew anybody that was jumping.
Andrew Butcher. He's always jumping.
Andrew and
He's always there. They're always there.
They're always there. Yeah.
Dave's probably flying.
Yeah. That's cool. So so let's see. So I walked through that. Yeah, we have the weather, right? So you can see kind of what everything's looking like for each hour. And in fact, it will highlight whenever there's wind that's out of your parameters. You can set your own limits for winds.
Yeah, that was one of the questions I was going to ask for. So, are you able to set your own parameters that, hey, I want it preferably coming out of the east and no more than,
we don't have yet a way to say, only when coming out of the preference. East. I also don't have a way to do upper preferences just yet. It's for ground winds today. Okay. I'm open to talking about other ideas, but for ground winds, you can specify.
That would be the only ones I'm really worried about anyway. It's anything from 300 feet down, right? Ground winds.
So here's what we have, right? You can put your max wind speed.
Gotcha.
And then your max spread, which is the distance between the gust and the expected winds. And so this is
like setting your own personal minimums.
Yeah. Or maximums in this case, but so
I guess in this case maximums.
Yeah, you could put how much let's set something for now that we know will be out of spec some of the time. Maybe we'll do 15 miles an hour. And then let's say the spread has to be, 7 miles an hour. And so for a lot of people, that could be confusing if we just had that. So we wanted to spell out, what does that mean? That means that 9 to 15 would be considered good inside of this. 8 to 15 would be like right on the limit of what you're saying you would allow. And 7 to 15 would be too much of a spread.
Gusting. Yeah, too much gusting.
So that would be considered red. And then you can put a range of temperatures that you want. 45 to 100 is what I've chosen. And so we can back out and go over to Air Ohio. Let me refresh it and make sure if we're going to see anything.
Yes, because not for base reasons, really. Like I have certain areas that like I have set up, like it'll alert me that it's my ideal wind conditions for this particular spot. And cool. It's this window of time is most likely when it's going to be, 3 miles an hour, gusting maybe 4 to 5, coming out of the direction I want.
Ah, nice. Yeah. Yeah. So I haven't yet built anything for base jumpers in this app.
Well, no, but honestly, I use Windy.
Sure.
But like you've already shown that you can pull that up in the app.
Yeah.
So
it could be used for that as well.
So like I have two, I have a bunch of different apps that I use for skydiving, and I have a bunch of different apps that I use for base jumping.
Yeah.
But it seems like this could be a platform for, hey, this specific area, this specific object that I like to jump. These are the parameters that I prefer jumping in, and I set those, and it'll give me a push notification. Hey, Wednesday, it's perfect.
That could be cool. I don't have a feature for that just yet, but that could be something that we could develop at some point.
Yeah, I think it would be good for DZs too, specifically for our DZ, because I know when it's coming out of the north, I just generally don't want to jump because we have a small LZ, and when you're just coming out of the north, the wind's it's just coming rotering off the trees, and you get a ton of turbulence. So if it's higher wind day, I just like, nah, thanks.
Interesting. Okay.
Like
I haven't gotten a request like that just yet, so I need to mull over the best way to do that, and maybe we can be in touch afterwards. I'll try to find a way to put that in there.
Yeah. So, I mean, I know maybe some other people have their preference, but our DZ, I prefer it out of the southeast because it's the cleanest air. There's no elements in the way. It's nice and clean. It's the best clean air to land. That's the best direction, in my opinion.
Interesting. Yeah.
So
that's cool. So yeah, here when it's red, that's like out of spec for your your wind limits. And so we actually grade the whole day. So you have like today is green over here, Sunday's green, Wednesday through Saturday over in Air Ohio, based on the new kind of more restrictive settings that I set are yellow. And if I were to change those settings back to what they were, probably some of those would go green. So these are personalized weather predictions based on what you set. And of course, I do always recommend to users of the app, like the weather forecast is not always right. And if you're not there, you're not going to be able to jump. So, like take this with a grain of salt, get out there to the drop zone, go touch some grass, make friends. Drop zone's always a great place to be. This can help give you an idea, but I'm not trying to persuade anybody to not be there, to not go and try to get the jumps in.
I think anybody that takes their, jumping safely serious is at least looking at the wind and at least looking at, what the forecast is going to be. And if it looks like it's going to be within their comfortable limits, they're going to make the trip anyway.
For sure. Sometimes it's on the edge though, or it looks like a yellow day. Yeah. It's like, show up.
But like you said, can't jump if you're not there.
Yeah.
Can't win the lottery if you don't play.
I can think of 3 occasions where I probably shouldn't have gone to the DZ, but when I got there, it was fine. It was good to go. But based on the weather, it's like, I don't know if I should go. But I made the hour and 10-minute drive, and I was able to jump.
For sure. Plus, there's always friends there, and don't miss out on the great social connections that you make around the drop zone. So
plenty of days where I go up there and the weather's beautiful and I don't even jump.
Yeah.
sit around and bullshit with people all day.
Yeah.
I don't like people that much. I'm jumping, but I'll hang out.
Yeah, I'm more of a quality over quantity guy these days.
Yeah. So let me jump back over to San Marcos where we have some people that are there today. And then if you go and touch this at the bottom, you can get to this screen, which is like an organizing board.
You know what? Yeah. So I did play with this a little bit when I did download it, which I thought was cool. Like, oh, angle. I'm probably intermediate free flight, probably intermediate wingsuit, intermediate to advanced, belly definitely advanced. Not a ninja at anything.
I put myself at beginner recently, so
I will never rate myself as a ninja at anything ever.
yeah.
And
Well, hey, one day, right? That is one of the challenges, right? There are some people that are so humble that I need to persuade them that bump up your skills.
Yeah, I think you're your own biggest critic, right?
Well,
I mean,
people
even
with
like
thousands of jumps that are saying, "Oh, I'm a beginner."
Yeah,
well, okay, but
I still feel like a beginner and stuff, and I have over 1,000 jumps.
Yeah.
Like I don't know, man. This is what I've always done, and this is how you know what I mean. Even though I got my AFFI rating and stuff, like I still, I've approached it with I'm always a student. Like I'm always learning. There's somebody that knows more shit than I do.
Definitely. Yeah. I mean, forever the student, but always, like also
a teacher.
A teacher. And this is meant to be a tool to kind of help group people together with jumpers that are around their level, or for people to understand, who they might be able to jump with. So, it's funny. Dunning-Kruger's a real thing. We get a lot of beginners that say, oh, I'm advanced, and they're like at 50 jumps. It's like, well, all right. And then we get a lot of, some super shredders that maybe are.
Oh, I don't know, man. I'm probably not going to keep up with you guys. And then it's like, dude, shut up.
Yeah.
Well, man, you're all right. You're way advanced, dude.
Yeah. The most advanced people can sometimes be some of the humble ones when rating their own skills in this app anyway. And some of the newer ones can often overestimate. So try to group yourself with people that seem about at the same skill level. But this can be helpful because you can see who all is going to be there. You can tap on the number in the top right and get a full list of the day, or you can tap on any of these and bring up that segment, or all the belly jumpers, or all the beginners in different disciplines. Any way you want to look at it. And then if we bring up somebody's profile, here's Matt. You can see a lot about them. How many jumps he has, his tunnel hours, how long he's been jumping, links to his social media profiles, where he jumps, his bio, his disciplines. And so Matt at 2,000
jumps, he's a beginner at everything, dude.
I think he's one of those that maybe could be up there, put up just
come on, you're intermediate at least. At the least, you're intermediate.
So you can go here, and everybody has his social profile, and you can go and hit the heart to start following people. We're building in chat. That's going to be in one of the upcoming versions. So it's going to be a full-on social network that you can kind of organize things together. And you can have followers and following, similar to Instagram. And then let's see. I guess one of the other things that I've spent some of the most amount of time working on is our aerial map.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So, and let me jump over to a place that y'all are familiar with. This is where I jump, but maybe let's go to Skydiving, and we can look at it over there.
Yeah.
Well, it looks familiar.
Well, you see that little? Well, actually, you can't see it. It's under that little circle right there. That's a little. There's the LZ.
Okay. Yeah.
Now you can see why I don't like landing to the north.
Yeah. Well, see, I need to move our landing target here. This is something. There's like a lot of stuff that it's like just a manual process. So this is right now kind of the default landing target for your drop zone. It's just it hasn't been set, so it's Google Maps'
address marker.
Yeah. So I need to actually modify where that is, but
you just go in and change its latitude, longitude.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. We keep track of several different GPS points for things, for like the 0 point, which is like where we're calculating jump run to be left or right of, and before or after of. And so basically from the winds, we have a summary of the winds down at the bottom. You can tap on it, you can bring it up and see all the winds just as before. We can bring it over here. And, you know, based on these winds, they're super consistent over here in terms of heading. It's all blowing towards the east. So out of the west, from the west to the east. And that's another thing I wanted to bring up. So many people
misunderstand wind direction.
Headings, yeah, they could be confusing if you're a new jumper, or hell, even experienced jumpers that maybe are just not used to talking about winds that much.
Yeah.
You have jump run headings that are towards a direction, and then winds are from a direction, and it can be confusing, you know.
Yeah.
I never even thought about that. Yeah, you're totally right.
Yeah. So really, you know, when you're talking about winds from a head, you know, heading 270 up here, it's from the west, from heading 270 towards the opposite direction, which would be 90 degrees. But so we put it here. We give you the heading as people are used to talking about it. The heading of the wind, it's from 270. But then we show you an arrow to clarify. You know, the wind is moving from the west to the east, and you know, that should be made clear for everybody so you can see.
Yeah, I had somebody last weekend ask me on the plane, like, why are we back taxiing? I'm like, well, jump run's 250. It's the direction the wind's coming out of. Canopy is just like a plane's wing. You know, you want to land in the direction or take off in the direction it's got the most lift. And they were like, that totally makes sense. Sometimes it just clicks, you know? When I was a student, like calculating free fall drift, I was like, I just couldn't wrap my head around it. Like, I just could not wrap my head around it. And now it's like, dude, it's so simple. Like, here's the you know, this is what you do. You average, you multiply it by this, da 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 da. But yeah, as a newer jumper, like having this information at your fingertips it will make things a lot more clear. Sure. You know, you have something to look at other than someone telling you, well, you take the winds from 13 down to ground and you average them, and then you know, divide up by the throat plane, and depending on the winds, it's aloft and that. And they're like, oh my God.
Yeah.
It sounds a lot more complicated than it is.
Well, you know, to do it mathematically, it is as complicated as you're describing. That's exactly what we do in the app in an automatic fashion for, you know, for the user. So we will go through and calculate the drift from all altitudes. We average it over here to say, hey, you know, generally from 14,000 to 4,000, the wind is pushing in an averaged fashion 19 miles an hour to the east. And it'll show you canopy and ground as well. From that wind data, we predict what a good jump run would be to fly. And we have, I don't know, I don't have an exact count, but I know of at least 5 pilots that use this to help or at least confirm their suspicions of what a good jump run to fly would be. And you know, it's a daily use tool for these pilots.
Totally going to start comparing it to what's put on the board for jump run. See if they come up with the same thing.
The
easiest one is if the drift is 20 miles per hour and the plane is doing 100 when you get out, you could get out over top. Like, it's the simplest way I can explain it to some people sometimes. That explains the offset, you know?
Well, like, I don't know if you just saw it. There was just a refresh because it moved to 4 p.m. And so now we're using the next hour's forecast. And so this is the updated jump run prediction. And you can see here, I don't know if you can read it, but the predicted jump run, the heading is 285. It's saying, according to the 0 point, it's 0.1 mile to the left of that, and the green light should be 0.1 mile before that, or at least, you know, the first group's exit should be that. The ground speed it's predicting is 85 knots, and this is based on 100 miles an hour, so I do need to kind of make that specific to the aircraft in use at the Johnson, because I know not everybody has the same.
We got a King Air, baby, nice and fast.
King Air, or maybe you got a 182, and you know,
we got both. We got both, and a 206.
Yeah, there you go. You know, so I'm going to make that where it's going to be customizable, but currently off of 100 knots it's going to be, kind of slowing us down about 15 knots. The group separation, based on that calculation, would be about 7 seconds. And then here's the cool thing. You can click this edit button and go into the edit mode, and you can change jump run, and it will show you the red rectangle is where we're expecting. If we have that jump run, where do we expect that canopies are going to be opening?
That's cool.
Along that corridor.
That is super cool.
And so, if you go the opposite direction, either way, the push is to the east of jump run. And
I kind of geek out on data like this a little bit because I used to drag race in the NHRA, and Sweet. I used to race in both Super Comp and Top Dragster, but they were both, one was an index class where you couldn't run faster than 890, and one was you had to dial your own time, what you would run in a quarter. And I would use a weather station, and then I'd use some programming software depending on, the barometric pressure, how much humidity is in the air, yada, yada. You can't burn water, blah, blah, blah. And then that's how I'd make a calculation for how fast or how slow I was going to go. So I find this super cool.
Nice.
Joe's nerding out.
Yeah. Well, I'll show you a couple more things real quick on this screen. We have so much more I want to at least touch on before we call it for the call. But we have this movement tab, and you can draw a movement plan, and you can see what that would look like. The distance that, here, let me draw something that would be, crazy long. That would be 2.1 miles, right? So you can see what the movement distance would be for people who are doing movement jumps. And I need to make it where you can zoom out. Every wingsuiter keeps asking me for that. They're like, we go much further.
That's cool too, because newer students that are like starting to do tracking jumps and, maybe putting on a one-piece tracking suit or something, it gives them a good sight picture to realize this is the flight path that you should be looking at. And it's the actual, ground that you will be flying over.
Yeah.
And like the red zone, you don't want to fly up and down on.
Yeah. That's where people are going to open. So stay away from there. Be a long ways out from there.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That's cool.
Yeah. So we have that. And then we also have a canopy pattern tool here.
This, I think, is going to be groundbreaking for new students.
Oh, yeah. I
mean, I could tell you how many times people are like, I just still don't get it. I'm like,
yeah.
Dude, it's this simple. You take the same landing pattern and you just turn it to the, you just turn it.
When you're new, it's hard to imagine sometimes.
Yeah. I know.
I remember being new. I struggled with that, and I think,
I get it.
Experience teaches all, but when you're new, it's a struggle. So
but having something like this, we didn't have something like this in 2012, so it wasn't like I could pull up this app and go, well, this is what my landing pattern should look like.
Yeah.
Yeah. Except there's a runway where you're turning right at about
so that's probably not
350 feet. So you need to
help me out because I don't know the rules over there in Skydiving.
I think
you're not supposed to cross the runway below 1,000.
Okay. Most that's what most runways or most airports are. I think. Yeah.
So maybe feet. I don't know. I don't know what the direction would be. I don't know if it might be.
That'd be good depending on wind direction.
Right now, it's a little bit simplified. I need to make it where you can adjust distances because things are calculated and it's super cool. But you can't, like in this case, maybe you would prefer to have a shortened base leg. So that way it could accommodate a little bit more. We don't yet have the ability to do that, but I'll add some more features for it. But check this out. So we have a long downwind leg, medium-sized base leg, and a shorter final leg because we're going into the wind more or less. And so this is all calculated from our winds. And so if we were to switch it the opposite direction, you would see that, let me just put it in view here.
Your pattern change.
The first leg of the pattern is actually going into the wind, so it would be shortened. And then the last leg of the pattern would be more downwind, so it would be lengthened. And so, we're able to calculate that dynamically. The thing that I want to add is, okay, that's cool and all, but I actually do want to shorten or lengthen a leg. And so, let me modify
based on my specific canopy, what my recovery is, how much forward penetration am I getting,
it could be
etc.
all of that, but also in
Yeah.
this case, as you mentioned, right? Like, hey, I just don't want to be right over the top. Maybe I want that target, but I don't want to be flying over the runway for it, so I want to shorten up this leg and, adjust it in some way.
So then say, exactly that scenario. I don't want to be flying right over the runway. So if you just moved, shortened your base leg, right? Would it
Yeah.
then also adjust the length of your downwind and your final?
I think he's
It
saying he's
could,
going to
yeah.
add that feature, right?
Like
Yeah, so
automatically it would do that?
well, we don't
Because
have
it
that
would
feature built
change, you know
yet.
what I mean?
I
Yeah.
think there's multiple kind of versions that I want to have of this. We have a student set of features that I want to build, so it will be simple and allow for easy modifications. And then I want to build a much more comprehensive mode that would allow for a lot of swoopers to plan things for higher performance turns, for doing a drifting pattern, for doing a lot of other things that
crabbing.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
So I do want to have an advanced mode and a simplified mode, and kind of keep those two separate depending on what user we're talking about.
There is so much more in here than I realized. Holy cow!
Yeah. Oh, we're just scratching the surface.
That's insane.
Yeah. Let me run you through just a few things that are coming. So we have a home screen, right? So a home screen allows you to get to multiple drop zones, and then you would tap on like the last drop zone you were at is here, the big one, and then the recent ones before that were over here on the right. So if you tap on this, it'll bring you to the screen that we were just looking at. Today, if you use the app, this is like the top thing that you go to. But in the next version, we're going to have people go over here to this home screen first, and that will allow for quick switching between drop zones that you've been to recently, or if you have multiple drop zones that you bounce between. This should be, just allowing you to get between them much quicker. But in addition to that, we can show you some load clock information and who's going right here on this screen. You can get to the world map to bring up, all the drop zones, and we have support for over 400 drop zones in the world. You can search for them right here. We have them listed by country as well. We're adding in a whole tunnel mode as well. I'm not really ready to demo that just yet, but that's coming soon.
Okay.
Well, tell us a little bit about that. What's the tunnel mode gonna do?
You'll have to wait and see.
Okay,
it's a little bit further out for that one, but we will have some tunnel features. I'm building out a logbook here, so you're going to be able to put in the jumps that you do. You'll be able to see statistics, charts, and graphs about the jumps that you're doing, who you're jumping with, what disciplines and what canopies, and all that sort of thing. We're going to build in kind of something to help people progress towards their next licenses, and towards instructional ratings if they're interested in getting those. So much more. Gear. I have to talk about gear.
Yeah.
So for gear.
Well, hold on, just real quick.
Oh yeah,
Going back to the logbook thing. I'm sorry, dude. I have to.
Yeah, no worries.
Have you ever heard of Skydive Logger?
Yes. Yeah. We have some good logbooks out there.
Yeah, and it also like shows a map of your jump, like if you jump with your phone in your pocket. I said I would like never do another digital logbook because I had to go through and like I'm kind of anal. I went through and put like all of my previous jumps in it and stuff, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
If your logbook does everything this logbook does, I'll totally start using like this would be a true all-in-one app. You know what I mean? That would be awesome.
Yeah. So I think we have a ways to go to build up logbook. Right now it's kind of at a prototype phase, and so I would say be on the lookout for it. The commitment that I make to people and the standard that I hold myself to for this app is I want this to be the best in class at every single feature that it does. And so if there's a feature that we do, I want to confidently tell you that there's not another place you could go to get that feature done better elsewhere. And I intend to have the logbook in there. Yeah, it's going to take some time to get it together and make it to the standard that I want. But when that gets launched, we'll iterate on it. We'll make it nicer. But we're going to have a lot of really cool things related to logging there.
This is so cool. All right, go ahead.
Oh, no worries.
Gear.
Jump in anytime. So yeah, for gear, this is really cool. We have every piece of gear that of modern gear, at least that you can get on the market. Every piece that I'm aware of, you can look for in here. So for canopies, we have 37 canopies in here. If there's something I'm missing, anybody reach out. I'll add it. But you can look at, if there's a beginner who's listening to this, you can press the beginner level.
I get the question all the time, man. What kind of canopy should I get for this and for that? And,
yeah. So we can show you beginner canopies.
Yeah.
We can show you wingsuit canopies.
Yeah, like what should I get for wingsuiting? I got a Saber
crew
2.
canopies.
Like, no, you don't want that. To get something, you don't want a wingsuit with a Saber 2. Get something else.
Yeah, right. We can show you ninja canopies, and the goal being that we want to help match people to their ideal canopy and what would, be a good fit for them.
Yeah.
And with any of these canopies, you can bring up, I'll go to the Saber 3. You can bring up Saber 3 and it will tell you pricing from the manufacturer, from PD.
Characteristics.
It'll tell you the sizes and what the manufacturer has to say about their product. So this is from PD. And then you can press this product page button and it'll take you right to the official Saber 3 product page. We also right here have a manual button. So for every canopy that we have a manual for, it'll bring the manual up right here. And so the goal that I have is I want to make it where skydivers have easier access to getting information that will keep them safe, especially around their lines and around their gear maintenance.
Yeah.
I want to make sure, because I've had 2 friends who have unfortunately passed away from line-related issues.
Yeah.
And so this is something that's really important to me. I want to make sure that, people have access to all the information that will keep them safe.
Yeah,
and whether they use that, the ball's in your court now. But
exactly.
Want it to be easy.
I mean, it's just like I know we're talking skydiving, but it's just like the BFL, the base fatality list. If you read the whole thing, every single one was avoidable. It was due to human error. And I think there's one that one of my mentors said I could kind of chalk it up to gear malfunction. But we also told him for, a year or two, your shit's wearing out. You need to get a new canopy. And basically, the canopy exploded on opening because it was so old. And I had...
I'm getting my rigger's ticket. So, like, right now I'm training, right? And I need all these manuals. So every time I touch a new piece of equipment, I got to go find the manual and download it.
Nice.
Yeah, I was going to say, someone asked me last weekend, like, hey, the cat eyes on my line set's fraying. I'm like, dude, maybe it's time to just get a new line set, man. You have fraying on any part of your lines, just get a new line set, dude.
Don't chance it.
It's not even that expensive.
No. Yeah, I think that's one of those things that really, as a community, we need to tighten up our practices around line maintenance. And so I'm doing what I can to try to help educate people with that. And help empower them with the information they need. I can show you something else related to that in a moment. But Brian, share with me, if you will, any manuals that we're missing, because it's a work in progress. So if there's something that we don't have that you're able to find a manual, please send it over and I'll put it in there.
Yeah, sure.
Awesome. So we have jump in.
Oh my God. Well, I was just gonna say, like, for older versions of equipment, obviously there's a different manual. So, like, do you have just the latest and greatest stuff? So, like,
I have the latest and greatest stuff. I am interested to put in older things as well, but I don't have those in there just yet. So, let me know what I can.
I think that would be a day 2 type of thing, right?
Yeah.
Most of the people using this, in my opinion, most of the people that be using this app are using probably modern, if not new, at least newer equipment,
Yeah, for sure.
20 teens or newer.
Typically so.
Hopefully. Right.
Not like my 20-year-old gear.
So under altimeters, there's so many cool altimeters on the market, and I truly didn't know probably at least a third of these existed before I put this together. But how cool that you now have a tool that you can go say, I want a digital altimeter and here's your options. I want to have one. I want to have an audible. Here's what I can do with that. I want something that'll track my GPS, there's even now, Freefall Data Systems, I need to update theirs. They have some new products coming out for color, or even Aeon 2 has Project Obsidian. I need to add in here as well. Deep and Steep has a glasses version that's coming. How cool that you can filter to this and jump to any of these products.
That's awesome.
And you can learn about what makes them different. And what I ask for all the manufacturers to send me, I want to hear from, if there's a manufacturer listening to this, I want to hear from you about what makes your product different. Of course, the marketing that goes into that, but in particular, the things that I want to highlight here is what makes it different from your other products, and what makes it different from your competitors' products. Because I want this to be something that can be used for Funjumpers to go and look and say, well, what do I want to get? I don't quite know. Let me see the differences between these products and figure out what the best option would be for me.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome.
So yeah, we have
you
all
literally
those
thought
in
of
there.
everything.
So much more coming. So much more coming. We have, I got to tell you guys about the podcast, right? So for podcasts, we even have the beer podcast right here.
Look at that.
Anybody listening to this, I know there's a lot of places you can listen to the beer podcast, but it's a podcast you can listen to right now in the Funjumpr app. And you can learn about all the other podcasts too. I have every podcast that I'm aware of in skydiving here. And we do have Exit Point, the base jumping
Exit
podcast.
Point's awesome.
Well. So
Skydive Radio.
They're all in here. We link to, we embed the YouTube player and the Spotify player. I need to figure out how to do Spotify video, because right now it's just Spotify audio. But we have those right there. And for YouTube, I can even have it in a picture mode. So you can be like doing other stuff.
Oh, that's cool.
And still watching your podcast.
Yep, that's
nice.
Cool.
Yeah.
I guess that means I need to start uploading these videos to YouTube.
It would be helpful, but I also need to find a way to put on Spotify video player and an embed.
Spotify just does it automatically. Like, except that's like who we record it through, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
but,
yeah. And then, we have all these video content producers, a lot of really cool channels here. A lot of people that are uploading clips of like some really awesome flyers to get motivated from and all that.
You might already have this in here and you haven't gotten to it. Is there an option in here if somebody were looking for specific coaching in a specific discipline, that you could be like, here's the list of qualified instructors in your area? And
so that's coming on a couple of fronts. We have, I have kind of a learning module section here. And one of them is for Canopy, and I have a list of Canopy coaches. Mm-hmm. And right now this is very ugly. This is like pre-release version, but I'm going to build
still
out
better than anybody else has. There isn't this, at least that I'm aware of, other than like you go to the USPA website. Yeah, there isn't anything else that has this information. Yeah, right? Like, oh, I need a coach for yada yada.
Yeah. So I'm going to build out the library of coaches on the Canopy perspective over here. And a lot of these are Canopy courses. Some of them are more structured. Some of them are individual coaches. I also have the same thing for tunnel coaches that I'm developing as well. And I'm sure there would be an opportunity to put that together for other disciplines and make sure that people can search for qualified coaches that coach what they're looking to learn.
Yeah, I think some people don't realize that they're like really good wingsuit coaches and instructors, like really good. But you might have never heard their name, but they're some of the best pilots in the world. And sometimes they're just only recommended by word of mouth.
Yeah, I do think that's an area that I'm hoping to build more of a sense of, this comes back to kind of our global skydiving community.
Yeah.
That, people are connected with who they know at their drop zone. And, some people are connected beyond that, no doubt. Mm-hmm. But I think it could be a lot more of an accessible community and, really plugging into what people are doing at other drop zones, maybe even what people are up to across on the other side of the world somewhere. We're all enjoying this together.
Us stadies over here love going to Europe, especially for the base scene.
Oh, okay. I thought you were being sarcastic.
No,
Americans are not
no,
known for traveling, but
no, man. Europe's awesome, man.
but yeah,
Europe's
yeah, base
amazing.
jumping is incredible there, I hear.
Yeah.
All right, John, I have to ask you, and maybe you said this while I was messing around with my dog. Is is this all you do? Like, is this your
That was gonna be my
job?
question. Like, is this what?
Because this is an incredible amount of work. If you have a job outside of this, I have no idea how you found the time. Like, I don't know how you found the
It's
time to
called
do what you've
passion,
already
dude.
done.
It's called passion.
Yeah,
Holy
well,
cow.
so I own a company called Chief Logic. We do software development consulting. And I used to really be focused on client work as my main focus, and this was something that I did on the side. As of March of this year, so it's April, May, June, June. I guess 3 months, 4 months, I guess. I've been doing this 100% full time. So this is all of my focus goes into building Funjumpr, and the plan. A lot of people ask, kind of where is this headed, or how can you do that? Like, are you going to start charging? And the answer is we're always going to have a very significant free tier of this app. There will eventually be a premium paid version, but I know most skydivers are spending their money on jumps.
Everybody wants something for free.
Realistically, I fully expect 90% plus are going to be free users for life, and that's totally okay with me.
Yeah,
and we're going to have a kick-ass product for you for free.
Yeah. Well, you get what you pay for, and
Well,
just
in
looking,
this
just
case,
looking
I
at
think
your.
you can get more than what you pay for.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, just looking at what you're offering already and what you already have out there and what you have coming.
Yeah,
It's pretty
I was going to say, I'm
loaded.
surprised. Like, I can't believe it's free. Like,
yeah,
after just going through what you've showed us already, I was thinking, like, this should be something you have to pay for.
yeah. Well,
Yeah. I'm
thank
glad
you.
you don't have to, but you
But
should.
yeah, I mean, the goal is to really empower our community to come together, to have a unified set of tools and community that anyone anywhere in the world can use for free. And how can I afford to do that? It's because of Act Two. So this is Act One. Act Two is I'm in the process right now of building a drop zone management solution that I intend to be the premier drop zone management solution in the world, that will cover manifest accounting, staff management, tandem bookings, et cetera, down the line. And we're looking to be the premier solution in that space. And one of the key aspects to that for any drop zones listening is that, hey, we're building this so that way we're going to have a deep connection with all of your Funjumpr community. We're wanting to engage with everybody, and the goal of doing that from on the business side is that if we have kind of everybody all together, then we're hoping that that can be a strong selling point, that not only are we up for the task of putting together a really amazing solution that's going to be best in class, but also that we have already all the users you're going to want to be in the platform.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Awesome. Yeah. That'll be I'm looking forward to it. Somewhere where I can put my money, and manifest and check loads, check weather, all that stuff in one. It's kind of a no-brainer, It's pretty
Honestly,
impressive, actually.
I'm so glad that we're doing this, because I would never have probably dived this deep into it. You know what I mean? Like, clicking on some of the stuff that you're clicking on, there's just like a whole new world just behind a button press of, like, just like the weather stuff alone.
The weather stuff, man, is
There's
probably what I'm geeked out
there's
about.
so
Like
much
that's
here.
it's
So this is incredible.
just a good
Have you been on
source.
any other podcasts?
I've been on the Crave Show, and so I did that with Chris Fikes and Jay Russ last year. And then no, this is the second podcast I've ever been on as a guest in any capacity. So thank you for having me.
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
Thanks for
absolutely.
coming on.
Dude, this is amazing. This is amazing.
Yeah, I'm impressed. It's definitely you can tell a lot of hard work and passion also went into it.
For sure.
It's awesome. Developing an app, I know, is not easy, or especially to be available on iOS isn't easy. So you could definitely tell that you've put a lot of time into it, because any app for iOS is not very easy to get built.
Before we go, I do want to show a couple of more things that are coming, just because we've taken it this far.
Yeah,
we have let me see if I can jump over. We have a news feed. So as I mentioned, this thing is becoming a full-on social network for skydivers. You're going to be able to post pictures and stories. You'll be able to tag people, and there'll be reactions and comments and all the rest of it. You have a profile that I had mentioned. You can manage your own gear here. So this is something where you can have multiple rigs, and you can have free-floating gear, like other canopies, for example. It will keep track of when your reserve repack is coming due. It'll keep track of when your AAD needs service, and send you push notifications about those. We're putting together some things for details about your canopy. You'll be able to register your serial numbers here. So in the event that it were to get stolen, I sure hope it doesn't, but if it does, this can be an amazing resource for you to get it back. And then this is going to link over to the product page, the product page for that, and try to make it easier to buy a new line set or that sort of thing. And then we're even down here, we're building out buy and sell gear. And so the goal will be to take that from Facebook and bring it over into this app, where I think we can do a lot better job.
A little bit more regulation.
Scammers.
There's two sides. Scammers, which I think we can do a lot more than Facebook does to reduce scamming. Because
and the communities, I mean, it's not small, but the fact that there's that many people trying to scam on a lot of those sites is outrageous. And people are getting scammed.
For sure. A lot of people are getting scammed on Facebook. So, there's buy from reputable sellers, buy from people buy from people that your friends know at least, be selective about who you choose to blindly send money to. Or, go through a rigger. I think that's always good advice, where, the buyer will ship to a reputable rigger without payment. And the rigger's
like an escrow fashion.
So we have gear management here and buy and sell. I think we can reduce fraud. And I think in addition to that, we can help match people with good gear options. Because if you put in what your current gear is, and you tell us some things about what you're looking for, we can probably recommend what good gear would be for you, and steer you away from what not so good gear choices would be for you, trying to keep people safer and making better choices.
Dan, B12 straps are no longer a thing.
What's that?
Our buddy has a pretty old rig that still has the B12 straps.
Oh, yeah.
Snaps, B12 snaps.
Those are nice, though, dude. I kind of like them. Dude,
it's like, it's time for an upgrade, brother.
Yeah. Nice. So, I think there's, there's a few more things I could get into really quick. Just the student program. So for students, we have it where they can bring up all the category videos. And so if we were to play something like that, it puts the category video at the top. It puts the sim text at the bottom for that jump. And so we're hoping that this could be a little bit more engaging for students to actually read this material. The USPA did a phenomenal job of rewriting the sim. I can't believe how good it is. There's diagrams and plain English.
When I first started doing first jump courses, when I first got my AFFI and stuff back in 2013, 14-ish, like I had my own laptop with videos that I would like, okay, everybody, let's watch this video. This is what you can expect. And now it's awesome. It's like, it's all right there.
Yeah, this is super helpful. Here's our picture-in-a-picture mode. I'll close that out.
Nice.
We also show the beginner IBA videos from iFly, so that way you can, hopefully, people will be inclined to go visit the tunnel. It'll help out a lot as you're, going through AFF.
I am a tunnel proponent for students.
Oh, yeah.
Just super because helpful. I was a spinner.
Yeah.
I did my first few AFF jumps in 2000.
Yeah.
And I was too broke to get into the sport then. So it took almost 10 years to get back there. But before I came back, I went to the tunnel and I did like ended up doing like 2 hours.
Yeah.
And I mean,
fixed you
2
right up.
weeks. 2 weeks I had my A license because I slept in a van and did land in the parking lot.
Oh, nice.
There was some crappy weather days. I didn't do anything, but the tunnel definitely was night and day, and I got my license definitely that much quicker because I was already proficient, at least at the flying part.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. And let me tell you something. When I was a student, I viewed tunnel as being kind of like if you have to go to the tunnel, that's because you're doing bad. That was kind of the mindset that I had,
Right.
believe it or not. And that was definitely I was mistaken
It's
thinking
an
that.
awesome tool.
It's an amazing
Awesome
tool. I've since spent so much time in the tunnel, and it's been a huge benefit. And any opportunity I have to go back, um, I'm very excited to spend more time in the tunnel. It consistently makes you a better flyer. It's not, yeah. I mean, if you're
It
struggling, by all
will
means, go there. It will help you. But
it will humble you too.
yeah,
I promise. Like, because like I said, I took a duration off from skydiving of 6-7 years. Obviously, my AFF rating expired, so I had to go through the whole course again. And before I did, I went to the tunnel and I told the instructor, like, okay, I used to have my FFI. This is what I want you to do. And I was exhausted.
oh yeah,
After 15 minutes, I'm like, oh my God,
oh yeah.
forgot how hard it is to fly and chase somebody that doesn't know how to fly. But it's an awesome tool, even for experienced people. Like,
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, tunnel will never not make you better.
Exactly.
Every single
Yep.
time it will make you better.
Yeah. Yep.
But if you're struggling with anything, by all means, it can be a big benefit in that situation as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we can show you also the malfunctions, so especially for new skydiving, this is for students, but students that are, away from the DZ who want to brush up on these, this can be a helpful resource for that. And we can give you the full sim reference right here in a mobile friendly way. So you can.
Dude, this thing's awesome.
Yeah.
This thing's awesome. It's
Is
awesome.
there an
It really
iPad
is.
version?
You can get the same app on iPad. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay,
right on.
I will say, there's a few things that we make like a little bit better for iPad, but in a lot of ways, it's still kind of just a blown up version of the iPhone app. And so I think in the future, at some point, I'm going to spend some time really kind of dialing in the tablet version, and it'll be kind of its own unique flavor of things. And right now it's totally usable, but I think it will become a little bit more special for tablet later.
Do you guys have any plans on integrating the IRM at all?
Yeah. So this is an area where I'm building out tools for AFFIs, for example, but
instructors.
we just link over to the PDF version of the IRM, and you can read it right here. If the USPA ever were to publish something like this in web format that was similar to the sim, I'd love to put that in. It'd be lighter weight and searchable a little bit better.
Yeah.
But this is what we have today, and I'm happy to link that. So
that's cool.
That really is my disposition. If there's any aspect to this that you want to see something else in there that would be generally helpful to a large group of people, within reason, for sure.
There's gonna be some people like, "Hey, man, I need this." I'm like, dude, there's like 10 people in the world to do that.
The funniest thing people have asked for,
I think John will still do it. Looking at this, John will still do it.
Skydive dating. They want to see a dating app, and I'm like, I don't know.
Don't do
ask for that.
My vote is nay. I have a nay vote. For that.
Yeah, don't do that.
I said, well, there's a bit of a gender imbalance in the sport.
For sure.
For
sure.
Maybe not preference imbalance though.
Oh yeah, there you go.
As Joe would imply.
That is true. But that's the world does not need one more dating app.
No. But yeah, if there are things that any of your audience hears or that either of you think about that one of you comes up with a cool idea that can make this better, or a piece of information that's missing in it, a tool that's missing, feel free, please reach out. An easy way to get in touch if there's something wrong or whatever, you can just hit the report issue button down here. Or in the current version, it's in the drawer. It's on the sidebar there. And so, yeah, just reach out. My name's John Bindle. You can reach me on Facebook or Instagram.
That's awesome.
And yeah, we're always looking to make this better.
Yeah. It's incredible. So first of all, thank you very much for running us through this app, because like I said, I would never have found 90% of this I would not have found. I would have just stayed on the page that opens when you open the app. You know what I mean?
Sure.
This is incredible. I can't believe how much is on here. Like, I did not expect to talk to you for an hour and a half. Like this is awesome. I'm sure you could keep going on and on. What I think we should do is I'm just really excited about this. Maybe we should like make this a yearly thing. Like every year you come on again and we talk about
Okay.
like the app and what has changed.
Well,
This is
there'll be a lot
incredible.
new by then.
I would think so. Yeah. Yeah. I think you've provided a great app where there's a lot of important information for a jumper at their fingertips.
Yeah,
just I mean,
it
even
really
with the
is
weather portion, and jump run stuff, calculating landing patterns, and the gear. I mean, that's the second. Once I get that past that student status, it's like, what gear should I get?
Yeah.
But that's
Say go
it's
look at
all
the
right there,
Funjumpr
man.
app. It'll tell you.
Yeah, it's all right there. That's cool.
Yeah.
This is awesome. This is
Well,
awesome.
thank you so much. Yeah.
Yeah, John. Again, do you want to tell people where they can find you for suggestions or questions or
Sure. So
Yeah,
yeah, I
anything like
mean,
that?
media.
you can reach out. So follow Funjumpr app, Funjumpr_app on Instagram, FUNJUMPR_app. Or you can reach out also on Facebook. We have a page there for Funjumpr. Feel free to reach out to me personally. My name is John Bindel, JOHNBINDEL. I'm on Facebook. I'm on Instagram. Either of those is great. There's a report issue button here. So whatever works best for you.
I without a doubt expect us to have some sort of mutual friend on
Oh,
social media.
we must have 70.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how skydiving works.
Totally awesome.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Appreciate you. Yeah. I'm blown away. I think this is awesome. I'm a dated kind of geek too.
That's
and
awesome.
I think this thing's pretty cutting edge, actually. Like just bringing it all together.
Well, thank you so much. I sure appreciate that. We, things have been really skyrocketing, honestly, for this project. In March, we won the USPA Star Award for technology and skydiving at the PIA. And it's just been, 3 or 4 months since then. And, our usage has really grown. At the start of March, I think we were at 2,000 users. And by now we're above 5,000 users. And so, I don't know how many skydivers there are in the world. I would guess maybe 30 or 50,000. But yeah, we're already at a very significant chunk of them. We're growing rapidly. We're currently growing at 800 users a month. And,
that's awesome. Congratulations.
Well, thank you so much. But
I think it's going to skyrocket now.
Yeah, well, after we get the social network things, I'm really just excited for the direction it's likely to head. I think people are going to really start to use it all the more.
People are going to ask. I get guys, newer students, like all the time, like, "What do you think of digital logbooks?" I'm like, "Yeah, definitely." And I'm going to be like, well, "This is the one," because not only are they going to have a logbook, it's going to have all the answers to all the questions you're going to ask me.
Yeah,
you can still ask me. That's cool.
Yeah.
But you look at something you don't understand, then I can answer it. But this is going to be, I think, the app for information.
We wouldn't have become friends if we had Funjumpr a year and a half ago.
Don't say that.
You would have just said, go look on Funjumpr.
That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying the resources that are going to be within this app are knowledge, and factual resources that you can just at the touch of a button, touch of the screen, bring it up. Like, hey, I forgot about this. What are my cloud clearances?
Yeah.
Go into Funjumpr, pull up the sim, boom, there it is.
Dude.
Yeah.
Dude.
Yeah.
I did not expect all this. This is awesome. It's completely awesome.
Cool. Yeah. All right. Awesome, John. We appreciate you coming on the show. I'm excited to see. I'm excited to start using it, but I'm also excited to see the future updates. So we'll be telling everybody about it. So thanks a lot, man.
Well, thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate y'all taking the time to have this conversation.
And again, I know I said at the beginning of this episode that John was screen sharing and doing some stuff. If you only listen to it, stop, go back, rewatch it on Spotify. I'll make sure I put this one on YouTube. Make sure you go back and look
Even
at it.
if you
It's
just
like leave
listen
those
to
two.
it, and even if you just listen to it audio, it's going to give you so much anticipation to see the video because there's so much stuff we just went over, and it's awesome stuff.
All right.
So
Well, as usual, everybody, if you have questions for us or want to maybe be on the show, send us an email at beerpodcast24@gmail.com. You can find us on Facebook, Beer Skydiving Podcast, and on Instagram, Beer Podcast 24. Until next time, blue
cool.
skies.
Yeah. All right, guys. Appreciate it.
All right. Later, John.